Hey folks, Cool18 here, and welcome to Let's Play Path of Exile Awakening's Closed Beta. Path of Exile is a free-to-play action RPG. It's basically a better Diablo than Diablo, or at least it's what Diablo 3 should have been. It is free-to-play. They've got, you can support the game via various microtransactions that have no gameplay effect whatsoever. They're basically just cosmetic effects, although you can also get a bigger stash, which is awfully convenient. But other than that, there is nothing. It is really fun to play. And Awakening is a new expansion coming out for it, and it is currently in closed beta. They've just reset the servers, so all my characters in the closed beta just got wiped out. So this is why I'm starting as a level 1 witch. There are seven different classes to play in here, but the classes are really mostly just a character model. And if you open the ginormous passive skill tree, this is the same skill tree for all characters, but you start in different places depending on who you're playing. As a witch, for example, I start in this area over here, and as the marauder, the big barbarian type, I would start over here. Now, it is possible as a witch for me to come all the way down here and then get all, the bonus strength, two-handed weapon damage kind of nonsense that the marauder has, but it would be pretty inefficient to do that. So obviously you tend to pick a class that matches the sort of skills you're looking to do. And in this case, I'm looking to do a pure sort of like elemental spellcaster, wizard type. Specifically, I'm looking to use lightning spells, so I'm going to be experimenting over here. Now, this is just the passive skill tree. How you get your skills is actually from these skill gems. So let's go ahead and get started. Right when you start, they always drop you a little item over here. You can see this driftwood wand has 3 sockets in it, a red, green, and blue. And right here, after talking to the Dying Exile, I'm going to skip a lot of this flavor text here. He's going to get taken out by a little zombie, and the zombie is going to drop us a fireball gem, which I will go ahead and socket in this item. Now I can remove it whenever I want. That's fine. And the gems themselves have levels. So in addition to you leveling up, your gems have experience points and will level up, and that's how your abilities become more powerful. Down here are all my abilities that I currently have equipped. On my left mouse button, currently I have the default attack, which is just my wand attack over here. And when I installed the fireball gem, it put itself in the right mouse button over here, fireball. But I can always switch it around. I could put fireball, say, on my left mouse button as well. I'm going to leave it like this for now, just because starting off I have like no mana, no gear. But very quickly you'll want to get to the point where you never use the normal standard auto attack. You're always going to want to use some sort of spell, some sort of ability. That's even if you're playing a melee character, just because there are a variety of different abilities that you can use to modify your automatic attack. For example, if you're using a big weapon, you might want to grab the heavy strike ability. That's just a dagger. Not going to pick up most items, just because there is no real... Like, you can sell items to vendors, but most items don't really give you too much, and it's simply not worth your time to worry about. So mostly you're just picking up stuff that is going to be useful to you or particularly valuable to sell. But yeah, so if you're a dual wielder, you might want to grab a dual strike gem, which lets you hit with both weapons simultaneously. All kinds of different stuff. Let's go ahead and pick up the iron hat over here. I'll look ridiculous, but I have a helmet on now. None of these are magic, but, just a little bit of extra armor to get started. And you'll notice as we go, especially when the items are on the ground, there's a little indication of what the gem slots are. Like here, over here, the Iron Gauntlet. Actually, that's quite notable, because not only does it have a blue gem and a green gem, but they are linked. Because later on, we will get the ability to get something called support gems, which will modify an ability. So my Fireball here, I could get a support gem that causes it to have a faster cast time, or bigger area of effect. Or I could do a weirdly weird thing where my Fireball not only does fire damage, but has added lightning damage. And then the multipliers get even weirder. Multiple projectiles, the ability to bounce between units, and just so on and so on. There's tons of different support gems you can get. We just leveled up to 2. I'm going to use one of my Scrolls of Wisdom they start off with to identify the gauntlets. +1 mana gain per kill. That's actually going to be really useful. And we've leveled up. So I'm going to pop this open. So again, as a witch, I start over here. And as a witch, it gives me a little bit extra mana to start off with. Right? Every class is a little mix of different things. So as a witch, I start a little bit more with the mana. But I don't think I gain extra stats per level automatically, especially because I'm a witch. I might be wrong about that. And from here, I can start in 2 directions. This branch here starts me off a little bit more defensively with energy shield and mana regeneration. And over here, we've got more spell damage. I'm going to definitely go and get some more spell damage first. I'm going to sort of whittle my way up here and pick up elemental domination and just keep getting more elemental damage with spells, bigger cast speed, and a little bit more intelligence. Intelligence is useful because it gives me more mana. Also gives me more energy shield. So there's 3 defensive stats in Path of Exile. There is armor, which reduces the amount of physical damage you take. So if you get hit by a physical effect, your armor will reduce how much you take. There's evasion rating, which gives you a chance to just outright dodge an attack, a physical attack, generally speaking. And then there's an energy shield. Energy shield basically adds more hit points. It's an extra layer of hit points above your actual health. And the nice thing about energy shield is that it does regenerate very quickly. If you haven't been hit in a couple of seconds, actually I don't know what the exact timer is, but then your energy shield will recharge. So it's a nice layer of hit points that recharges very, very quickly. But it's got a few funny interactions with some different stats. And so, you know, people will tend to focus generally on one type of defense over the other. And where you go depends a little bit on personal preference, but also on your class. There we go, my fireball gem leveled up, so now it's going to do a little bit of extra damage. Because, like, the witch, for example, has access to a lot of things to give her more energy shield. So that becomes sort of viable as a witch to go heavily energy shield. But you don't have to go that way. There's no reason you couldn't wear just heavy armor in general. There we go. This is the boss of this little tutorial area is Hillock over here. So we just have to beat on him. And we'll keep drinking our flasks over here. The flask system in Path of Exile is great. You've got 5 slots for them. And you can see here, they start you off with 2 health flasks and 1 mana flask in there. But you don't use them up. When you drink from them, it doesn't use up the flask. What it does is it drinks some of the content, right? These flasks have charges. And every time you kill a monster, you gain a charge in your flask. And so these are constantly refilling themselves slowly as you fight. But it means you can't just, like, chug them all and then... You can't go to town and buy 100 of them and then basically have unlimited healing. But at the same time, it means you don't have to micromanage your flasks in your inventory and constantly have to refill them in town. It's, I think, one of the strongest systems over here. We'll grab a couple of these because they're magic. It might give me some stats. And I don't have shoes yet. So there we go. Bigger increase in energy shield, fire resistance. That stat there, the 22% increase in energy shield. Any stat that is on an item that sort of already has that. So these shoes, for example, give me energy shield. That stat only affects the number on these shield, and actually that 5 energy shield rating takes into account the 22%, which isn't, you know, that notable here, but, you know, we're level 2. And then the fire resistance is good. And then I could replace the cap. In fact, I will, especially with the link here. So 8 armor versus 12 energy shield. 12 energy shield is quite nice at this level. Considering I only have 69 hit points altogether, the fact that I have 18 points of spell shield is pretty good. Plus, that helmet looked ridiculous, and who wants that? So we're going to go into the first town now. This town has some quest givers, some vendors, and also a chest now. I wondered, did they wipe the whole server? Yeah, they wiped out the whole server, so I don't even have my stash anymore. Oof.
I saw what you did to Hillock out there, witch. Your black art is the reason you're here in exile.
Yeah.
Blind Eye's watch isn't much, but it's out.
So we're going to go ahead and sell this iron hat. And we'll notice there's no gold. What they give me for selling this iron hat here is a scroll fragment. If I get 5 of these scroll fragments, it'll become a new scroll of wisdom, which is what you use to identify magic items. So selling these sort of like generic gray items really doesn't give you anything particularly useful, because we're going to have scrolls of wisdom coming out of our yin-yang. But if we sell magic items, then we'll get different types of currency. And all the currency items are used for stuff. There's no meaningless items here. They're too desperate on this island here with these exiles. Like, gold is pointless. In fact, as you adventure around, you'll go buy giant stacks of gold and just ignore it, because who needs gold pieces, right?
Fine work with Hillock.
So the currency that we get will be things that allow us to craft better items, for example. Quite nice. So by completing that quest of killing Hillock, I get a new skill gem, and the rewards, the skill gems that are available, are based on your class. And it's quite interesting because, let's say I did want to make that big, beefy barbarian type that was a spellcaster, and I wanted him to use, say, Freezing Pulse. Well, what I can do here is I could load up my witch, bring her up to level 2, get the quest rewards of Freezing Pulse, and put it in my stash, and then start again as my Marauder, and then when I get here, check the stash, which is shared between our characters, and then equip, say, Freezing Pulse. But what I'm looking for is Lightning Tendrils. I was playing with this a bit before the reset. Only got up to level 20. I just happened to get my key to the closed beta like a day before they decided to reset the servers here. But Lightning Tendrils is a really, really, really fun spell. I'm going to leave the Fireball in there, but I'm going to put the Lightning Bolts on my left click. That way I've got 2 different elements to play with in case someone is resistant. But the Lightning Bolt makes me feel, or Lightning Tendrils makes me feel like Emperor Palpatine. So let's go ahead into the next area. So I got a mission to travel to the Tidal Island. If we bring up the act map over here, here's the town. That's where I started. So up ahead, there's going to be a zone here, the coast, and then off of that, there's going to be an area called Tidal Island, and I have to go and find a medicine chest over there. But mostly I just have to go out and kill lots of stuff. There's a really limit to how much I can talk about this game as I go. But, you know, we'll do some of it. The reason I'm doing this Let's Play, or, you know, this video anyway, is because I can't stop playing Path of Exile, especially with the new expansion coming up. And I figure, you know, if I'm going to play it, let's record it a little bit. So yeah, you can see this Lightning Tendrils is really awesome. It's relatively short range, but it does have an area that it affects over here. So I probably will still want to keep a nice long-range attack, such as this Fireball, for example. Or maybe I might go full Lightning, in which case there's a couple options that I can go there. And so these Lightning Tendrils are almost more of a melee attack. And I know that some people pick up the Concentration skill gem for using with this. Concentration actually reduces the area of effect of a spell, makes it less big, but increases its damage. And I think that would work out quite well for me. I don't need any of that gear. I could go and bank the Iron Rings in case I make a physical character later on. Iron Ring, which does get automatically equipped here, but I'll remove it since I literally have no interest in using it. Just adds physical damage to attacks. But I'm not using attacks, I'm using spells. Every gem has a series of keywords, and if we look at the... Go away. If we look at the Lightning Tendrils, you can see the keywords on it are Spell, AoE, which is Area of Effect, and Lightning. So that it's not an actual attack. Now, I think if I was just hitting with my wand, yeah, the wand is just a physical, it's actually a physical attack, but it's just a ranged attack, my wand ability. So these Iron Rings, actually I guess I will equip it for now in case I run out of mana. The Iron Rings will help me with my wand if I'm reduced to that. But I'd rather not. There's actually some passive talents somewhere in here, right over here, that increase your wand damage. You know, increase physical power with wands. If you want to do someone who just zaps people with wands, there's that. There's something else too, I can't remember. If you use the, oh, there we go. More wand stuff. 30% of wand's physical damage added as lightning damage. So if your wand is supposed to do 100 physical damage, well, it's still going to do 100 physical damage, plus 30 lightning damage on top of that, which is pretty cool. So there's some things. On the website, there's a talent builder that you can use, and it includes search functions and various filters and things, and the ability to share builds with each other, which is kind of neat. We do have another passive skill point, so let's go ahead and get more spell damage. Zap harder. The levels are all procedurally generated, so they're never going to be the same twice. There are... The monsters that you find... Like, so there's the zone, right? This coast that I'm on. The coast will always look very similar to this, but the layout will be different. The placement of the monsters will be different. The types of monsters will be the same. These crab-looking things are new monsters in the expansion. They're very creepy looking. And some levels might have like a guaranteed sort of unique person, or a very likely to exist unique person. That's going to be useful. That you can generally count down. But there's also a lot of rare monsters that are randomly generated, random names, random set of abilities that you might find in the place. Oh, I don't have the means to identify it, though. So we're just going to hold on to this for now. You cannot wield items that have not been identified. Go ahead and level up our Lightning Tendrils gem. I think it was Lightning Tendrils. And blow some of these guys up. It's really too bad that the stash got reset. And it's important. Like, this is the beta, so they're constantly making changes. Here we go. This is a unique boss. He's always here, Fire Fury. Or she, I suppose, is always here, Fire Fury. Now, because this is Act 1 of normal difficulty, things are going to be relatively easy. There are now that there's an expansion, there are 4 acts. Each one of them are pretty significant. And as you defeat an act, that you unlock a new difficulty. So normal into merciless into cruel. Actually, I might have those names inverted or completely wrong. It's entirely possible. And so you replay the game at a higher difficulty where all the monsters are much, much higher level. That's what I want. Coral rings, which give me more bonus life. Also, I can wield a shield. So we're going to do that. I'll pick up this as well, because why not? And a portal scroll, which lets me go back to base. But I still need the ability to identify things. What was I saying? I don't remember. Yeah, so everything's higher level. More things have more modifiers. The loot is a lot better, and so on and so forth. And then for a final end game, there's actually a system where as you fight and kill, some things can drop maps. These special, actual, I don't know, paper maps or something that you can load into this one machine somewhere, and you get truly procedurally generated levels, and the levels themselves will have modifiers. So you're like, okay, this map, monsters will drop 25% more loot. That's pretty good, but unfortunately, they all deal bonus fire damage, move faster, and automatically you're cursed the entire time. Oh, and you can't regenerate hit points. It's like all these modifiers can stack in, and some maps are very lucrative, some are very hard, some will be higher level, so that the monsters are that much harder, but at the same time the loot is that much better. I think the absolute maximum level in this game is level 100, but it's one of those things where level 100 is incredibly time-consuming and hard to reach. There are two major gameplay modes. There's standard, which is if you die, it kind of sucks. It's inconvenient. You res back in town or at your latest checkpoint if you want. On higher difficulties, so on normal, you don't lose any experience points or anything like that. But on the higher difficulties, you do lose a pretty significant chunk of experience points when you die. And since it takes longer and longer to level up, the higher level you are, it's very painful to die. You don't want to die. Dying is inconvenient. There you go. You heard it here first, guys. But that's the normal mode, the standard mode, or the softcore mode. There's also hardcore mode, which is if you die, you're just dead. Now, in most games, it literally might delete your character. In this game, if your hardcore character dies, he or she simply gets punted to the standard leagues. So you don't actually lose the character, but you can no longer play that character in the hardcore league once they have died. And I gotta say, the hardcore league does add a lot more drama to the game. But I oftentimes when I'm playing, I like to maybe I'm also watching a live stream or some Netflix or something in the other window. I might get distracted. Every now and again, there's internet lag, and I don't know. This character here is on standard. Just because I really want to make sure that I can get a character to Act 4 and really see the new content and experience that as much as possible. So I don't want to die prematurely. I tend to alternate what I play. I have characters in both leagues, and it just depends on what mood I'm in. But because there's something special about playing with this sort of permadeath. All right, let's go ahead and I think I'm gonna go cast speed here instead of the spell damage. Now, there's no ability to get a full respec, although once expansions come out, most likely there'll be a full respec because the skill tree is quite a bit different. For example, the expansion is adding these jewel sockets in the skill tree here. You can socket a jewel, and it'll have a certain radius, and it'll modify the skills in that radius, which is pretty cool. But you do get refund points later on. So push comes to shove, I could, if I decide I don't want the cast speed, I could refund these 3 and pick up these 3. Or the other way around, I could pick up these 3 to continue my sort of connection of my web over here, at which point I should be able to refund the cast speed points, if that's not what I want. But I think overall cast speed is good, especially with the lightning tendrils. I mean, it's probably good overall. The lightning tendrils actually seem pretty quick, but what they actually do, I'm going to just click once here. They actually cast 4 times. 4 times very quickly. But during that time, you can't move. You can see here, I clicked forward, started it, and then I tried to move to the side, and it didn't let me do it until it finished its 4 zaps. That's what Lightning Tendrils looks like. It does very low damage. You can see Fireball does 10 to 15. Lightning Tendrils does 1 to 5. And you're like, well, that's not very much. But in that 0.78 cast time, it's casting it 4 times instead of just the 1. With also the slightly longer cast time, which is why the DPS of the Fireball is 15.5, and the DPS of the Lightning Tendrils is 15.8. Lightning Tendrils actually do more damage overall, but you do have to get closer. Get that belt on, get a little bit more energy shield, for now. Oh, we got Hailrake over here. Okay, so Hailrake is a pain in the ass. He is the boss of this little this area here. He's the one that's going to drop the lightning chest. He uses cold damage, which can be particularly dangerous because you can get frozen in place, or at least slowed. And early on in the game here, you don't have much in the way of elemental resistance. I think I've got one item with like 9% fire resist. All resistance is capped at 95%. So he can be a bit dangerous. Again, you know, Act 1 of normal, nothing is that dangerous, but Hailrake has been known to kill many characters. There we go. Medicine chest for the quest. Excuse me. I don't think I need anything else. So I could finish clearing this area. I suppose I might do a little bit more, just for some easy XP. But at this point, I definitely don't have to stick around here, because there's nothing else notable for me. But again, I could get a random drop. I can get experience points. There you go. Level up my fireball gem. Boop. As you level up your gems, they do tend to get higher requirements in terms of stats. Blue gems tend to require intellect. Green gems, dexterity, and red gems, strength. Which is one of the other reasons that, you know, you're sort of... To use certain abilities, you tend to be pushed in certain areas. But some have more or less requirements. Some have mixed requirements. Plus, there's actually quite a few different ways for me to get strength, say, as a witch, if I want to use a gem that was reliant on having a high strength. So they added voice acting in this expansion. So we're going to skip that just because, you know, I want to hear myself talk. Oh, we can leave this. So I could go and return that reward, but I'm actually going to just go back to the coast and keep clearing here. Just until we get to the next zone. Or, oh, okay, never mind. I forgot. They added a waypoint to the coast, which is not here in the base game. And it's very convenient that it's right outside the title island. So I'll be able to use that to teleport back to town, turn in my quest, get my reward. I guess I turn it into Nessa over here.
A medicine chest.
And you give me a type of flask. I will go ahead and get a life flask at this point. Thank you very much. There we are. And I can pretty much sell the old one. In addition to that, I'm going to sell these rawhide boots. Now, I told you that plain items, you know, white items or gray items, I don't know what color that is, don't tend to give you much reward. But this is one that's special because it has 3 sockets on it. They happen to be red, blue, and green, and they happen to all be linked, which is a so-called vendor recipe. If I sell this, I won't just get a little scrap of paper. I will get a chromatic orb for that item, which reforges the color of sockets on an item, which is nice. So, if I found an item, but I really needed more blue sockets, well, I could re-roll the sockets on an item using chromatic orb. And in fact, in practice, you might go through a whole stack of them trying to get the right color combination. Especially later on, you can get items. Big items can have as many as 6 sockets on them. And you might want to get exactly the right color out of all of those. And getting the exact right combination might take you a lot of chromatic orbs. Trying to get them all linked is particularly difficult. And so-called 6 linked items in Path of Exile are extraordinarily sort of rare and sought over. Even having a 5-link item is pretty valuable because the more links on an item, the more support gems you can throw in sort of your primary attack mode, which is pretty strong. All right, we got some extra little quest introductions to pick up over here, and we'll skip the dialogue. And we do have some scrolls of wisdom. I'm going to go ahead and identify the chainmail vest and the tower shield and say this wand over here. So I'm currently using another shield, and there's no reason for me not to use a shield because I have a hand free. So this tower shield has a higher base chance to block, gives me armor instead of evasion, and also some cold resist, which is nice. And then we'll equip the chainmail vest over here. More life, more cold resistance. That would have been handy fighting Hailrake over there. And the wand, interestingly enough, my current wand has more increased spell damage than this magic one, which also adds physical damage, but it's not worth using. We haven't identified this other one yet, but I might just sell it as is. Finding, you know, a replacement one's not going to be particularly difficult. Okay, I'm going to keep these other 2, and the reason for that is there's a vendor recipe. Qual armor. There's a vendor recipe. Let's recolor this. That if you sell items with a total combined quality of 14 or 40%, okay, or higher, then you will get an item Like, you'll get actually one of these, an armor scraps, if you sell armor, and the same thing happens if you sell weapons with 40% or more quality. I'm going to go ahead and just stash all this stuff. We'll keep the portal scroll, and we're going to go back out and kill stuff. So I tend to pick up anything with a quality of 10% or higher, and then I stash it, and then once that stash tab becomes kind of full, I just go and just dump all of it in the vendor and get lots and lots of blacksmith stones or armor stones. I guess it's blacksmith stones or the whetstone. Anyhow, oh, we cleared a wee bit of this already. There we go. Here's a new area. Oh, I don't want to fireball people. I'm going to go Emperor Palpatine on them. Where is the next bit? How do I leave this level? I'm probably going in exactly the wrong direction. Oh, I probably had to keep continuing south. The layouts here are a little bit different than I'm used to with the old system. I wonder if I want to go that way. Yeah, there we go. I bet you I do. First of all, I'm not used to there being a waypoint on this map. And the orientation of things used to be different. I don't know if that's just random here, but what's it called? The Tidal Island used to always be sort of in the southwest portion of the map, and the exit to the map was always to the northeast. So based on where that was, I sort of orientate myself that way. But things have changed, my friends. Don't care about the rusted sword. Yeah, there we go. There's the exit. Huh. Got to get used to the new possible layouts. And maybe that was always a possibility of a layout, but in my experience, it had never come up. I think they've just added more map variety. Tweaked their algorithms a bit, maybe. All right, so here in the Mudflats, we've got a quest, but it also connects to the Fetid Pool, which I'm also going to kind of go hunting for. Very nice of them to take forever to come out of the ground. Now, these Twig Spirit Shields are quite nice because while they're somewhat less defensive than what I'm wearing now, you can see slightly lower chance to block, although that's going to vary. And it's got Energy Shield instead of armor. You can see this, even though this is not a magical item, built in, it has the 10% increased spell damage. So I'm going to go ahead and equip that right away. We'll keep the old shield over here. I'm actually going to sell that because it's got the rainbow link on it for a chromatic orb. Ooh, something exploded there. What I like about the lightning effects is that when they crit, they will actually add the shocked status to enemies, and any enemy who is shocked takes 50% more damage. So as with lightning spells, you've got the option of going with a build that increases your crit chance to really pile on that shock status, which is obviously very good, but there's also lots of passive skills that simply increase your chance to shock with lightning spells. And in particular, there's a skill that I like, that I saw last time, and I can't remember what it's called. But basically, it's a skill that's always on. You turn it on, and it just permanently eats 30% of your mana, which is fine. I can afford to do. And with it, when you kill an enemy that's shocked, it will trigger a spell that will automatically send lightning bolts out to other nearby enemies. And so I'm going to hunt for that sort of thing, where I'm using lightning spells, and I want to, either through crit or just through simple shock chance, I want to make sure that when I kill enemies, they will generally be shocked, or at least in a group like this, one of them will be shocked. Oh, I want to grab that amulet, actually, because I don't have one yet, and that will give me more mana regeneration. And therefore, I'll have this lightning effect going on pretty regularly. In fact, the only time I basically won't be having that is when I'm fighting a solo boss, because I won't be, killing things if I'm just fighting a solo boss. Although most bosses in the game will occasionally summon waves of other monsters. And that's important because by killing the extra monsters, you get to refill your flasks, but it also means that your AoE abilities are always continue to be useful. Now I gotta kill this Necromancer here, Cadaverous the Defiler. The entire time, he's actually spending his time mostly rezzing creatures, which works out really well here. Because of our placement, I was killing them instantly. Let's see if I can reposition so that I can keep killing everything he summons up. Oh, he resists lightning! That's why it's taking a little bit longer. Let's kill some of his horde here and then use the fireball spells instead. That should be a bit more effective. Even though overall we don't do quite as much damage. Come on. There we go. And finish off his minions. So that'll net me a reward if I also go and kill all the monsters left in here. I don't think I want any of the stuff that dropped. So, oh, and we did level up at some point, that's right. So we'll go and take some more attack speed. That's just a random rare monster here. He resists all elemental damage, which is certainly very annoying to me. But I'll still be able to power him down. As a witch with my build, even if I use a mix of elements, I'll always be vulnerable to people who resist all elemental damage. I don't know if the resistance level that he has with that is as high as if he just said resist lightning, for example. I don't need any of that. But there are... Oh, there we go, another rare. There are some abilities later on, some passive skills, that will remove, like, eliminate some of their resistance, which is pretty good. Plus, you can always adventure in a party. It is, of course, a multiplayer game, so you can always join a party, and ideally people will have a different mix of damage sources to help you deal with that. Similarly, if you play a physical-oriented character and you run into something that's, you know, well-armored and resists physical damage, then you're also going to be in a bit of trouble unless you make sure to have abilities that add various elemental effects. Alright, don't care about that. Zap these barrels. Zap all these guys. There we go, 5 monsters remaining. So probably just one more cluster. Gotta loop around these little rocks and stuff because oftentimes they might have been left there. I think we're doing a pretty good sweep. We'll probably find the last pack monsters down there. What sucks is when you like think you've cleared everything and it just says 1 remaining. You're like, oh, where the hell is it? But there we go. That worked out pretty well. So I'm not going to turn in the reward quite yet. I could use my portal scroll to go home, but my portal scrolls are at a premium right now, so let's save that. Later on, you have basically unlimited scrolls of wisdom and portal scrolls. Here we've got, so these are so-called magic creatures or champion creatures, and they have an aura because I think there might have been a rare. Oh, maybe not. There's something around here giving them a... Oh, there's a shrine here, the Diamond Shrine. There we go. Let's use that so we get the buff instead of them. Diamond Shrine dramatically increases your chance to crit, so you'll see a lot more stuff just exploding over here. Let's just keep killing, I suppose, while we have the crit shrine. It'll last for a full minute, so we've got 30 seconds left. That is very satisfying. Explode all the things. Let's grab another coral ring for more hit points. Yeah, and while currently there's no penalty to dying, it does slow you down quite a bit. So I gotta find 3 of these glyphs here, which allow me to open up the next area. The quests are not particularly complicated. I mean, it's the sort of game, right? These action RPGs never have particularly complicated quests. They're just a way to continue the killing forward, right? It is a game of mostly kill things, they drop loot, equip loot so you can kill things better. Very, very Skinner box, but oh so very entertaining. And especially if you do play the multiplayer thing. I don't tend to do the multiplayer too much. Just because I don't know, I'm antisocial or something. There we go. There's the next little thingy. The Rusius glyph. There's one more glyph somewhere on this map that I gotta pick up. Let's go and pop those chests. I do have to spend my skill point as well. I got a second here. More cast speed. Pop you. Oh. Lots of driftwood malls, which is basically just a way to say a stick. A damp stick. Alright, it's nice when they cluster and I can kill a bunch at once. Okay, where's the last thing I'm looking for? I could actually let them cluster a bit more. Or ignore some of these little groups. Just wait until, you know, get more efficient actions. Alright, where's the last thingy? Oh, I guess we can explore in this direction. Again, they've changed some of this layout here. There's a... Again, they were always randomized, but there was a certain set of expectations you can make about the layout. And I don't know, I haven't played that much in a while, and it could be that it's not this expansion that has tweaked the layouts, but, you know, maybe the last expansion or the last couple of patches. But I still have certain expectations about how these levels are laid out. Boom, die. The portal scroll. And there we go. We'll grab the 13. I mean, you can grab every superior item if you want, but I find that it just takes too much work. You know, I draw the line somewhere. Okay, yeah, but I only have two. I only have 2 of them, don't I? Yeah, I only have 2, so I can not. I can't complete this glyph wall to continue here. Where did I miss it? There's one more glyph somewhere in here. There's another rainbow item. 11%. There we are. Where haven't I explored? You can see the water trails, so those have been mapped. Ah, there we go. Oh, that's amazing. I've basically walked all around this spot here. Because I've walked everywhere else, you can see the sort of the water, the little rivers, so just got a little bit unlucky. But there you go. At least we didn't have to go too far. Go pop that chest. Most likely there's not going to be anything in it, but you know what they say, any chest you don't open is a chest with a unique item. That one's just empty. As I say that. But if you open it, then there's no unique item. But if you don't open it, that's the one, you know. Because stuff. Alright, popped open this cave, the water level will lower, allowing us into the submerged passage. Ooh, that is very loud. There you go, that waterfall effect. And somewhere on this level, there should be another waypoint, and I don't think it'll be very far. There we go. So now, I can pop back to town and turn in the quest. To Tarkley, who wanted the alternate route.
So, you opened the tidal passage and lived to tell the tale.
That's right. And I would like... so none of these are lightning skills and aren't going to be part of my core build, but I quite like Cold Snap. It's a source of, you know, non-lightning damage. Also, yes, I completed the Necromancer quest, which gives me 2 passive respec points. So if we take a look at that, if I go back to my skill tree, you can see I have 2 refund points left, so I can hit refund passive and then deselect some skills. So you can't just buy a full respec, but you can erase a few mistakes or make some tweaks relatively easily. So as I was saying, Cold Snap gives me a source of cold damage, but more importantly, what it does is it freezes enemies in an area. It does have a longer cooldown, it has a 4-second cooldown, so you can't use it constantly, but it'll work. And I like to put that one on. Actually, I like to leave it as a Q here because my middle mouse I will use for a sort of teleport effect later on once we get that. Meanwhile, let's go and sell this for a chromatic. Sell this one for another chromatic. Very nice. And these are just quality items that I'm going to keep around. And then that extra iron ring in case I make a physical character. So we'll make a qual weapon tab. Make it beige as well. If you play Path of Exile and you can't rename or recolor your tabs, because these are premium tabs that you can unlock with the microtransactions. Now in the beta server, I think we automatically have premium tabs here, because I don't think I can access the shop. Like I can hit shop here, and I can access items that I've purchased, but normally on this other side you would get the actual bit where you could spend your money. If I click the online shop, it'll open up in a web browser. So I think in the beta there's not shopping available. So quality weapon goes there, quality armor goes in there. We're gonna do another one over here for jewelry. We'll make that one purple, why not? I'm just gonna keep some of these rings. 26, 27, 28. I'll keep the extra coral ring around in case I make another character. And then I'm going to dump off my currency. You can go over there. All right, we're going to wrap up this video. I'm not going to do, I think, constant gameplay updates. I'm not going to make like every moment that I play into an episode. So what I'll do is, I might play a little and then come back and it's like, okay, I'm a couple levels higher. Here's the build. Here's what I'm doing this. Maybe, fighting some bosses, that sort of thing. Just because, again, I'm going to be playing Path of Exile, so I may as well record it. I don't know, how interesting or compelling it'll be. Maybe it'll be the most amazing thing ever. I have no idea. You guys let me know what you think is neat. Friends, although again, because I'm on the beta server, I think even if anyone were online, I'm not sure it would show me them. You can go and apply to the closed beta yourself from the pathofexile.com website. There's sort of a draw system. I just was like, hey, I'm a super famous YouTuber, you should give me a key, and they did. So thank you very much, Grinding Gear Games, for that. But you know, for normal mortals, you can enter the draw, and they are starting to give out more and more and more keys as the beta continues to develop. Keep in mind, of course, if you do get into the closed beta, your characters are not permanent, so you could just play the regular game itself without the expansion, still get a fantastic experience that I highly recommend. And once the expansion hits, you'll be able to access all the new the content with the characters that you've already leveled up. See you next time, folks. Bye bye.